Okay, we are back with our special segment, and this one is the angle bisector. It's the same angle bisector from chapter 1 at the beginning of the year. Instead of just bisecting an angle, it's bisecting an angle in a triangle. Otherwise, everything is pretty much the same. So we know an angle bisector goes right down the center of an angle. So here we have angle ABC. BP is the angle bisector, so it splits the big angle in half into two smaller angles. We also know that from the angle bisector to each side of the angle has to be the same distance. If we're going right down the center, then from us to the sides has to be equal distance. So from point P to side AB, from point P to side BC has to be congruent. But these have to be perpendicular measurements. They have to be perpendicular measurements. And again, they will be equal or equal distance. Since there are three angles, we could have three angle bisectors. The point of concurrency, again, where they all intersect, where they all meet, is called the incenter because it is the center of the circle drawn inside the triangle. So the incenter is equidistant to the sides. Again, the incenter right here, it's the center of a circle drawn inside the triangle. So the distance to the sides has to be all the same. Again, just a little vocabulary to be familiar with. But the idea of an angle bisector has not changed. Let's take a look. AB is an angle bisector. Let's see what we're given, just the way we used to at the beginning of the year. Angle CAD, CAD, and angle CAB, CAB. So we can see that they are not equal to each other. The two small angles are equal to each other, but that's not what we have here. CAB is 2x minus 10. CAD, the whole thing, is 6x minus 70. We know since the beginning of the year, CAB plus BAD equals CAD. Well, angle CAB is given to us, 2x minus 10. We're going to double that because these two little angles are congruent. If we bisect the big angle, we get two small angles that are congruent, and that will equal angle CAD. So again, we're reusing all of our knowledge from earlier in the year. 4x minus 20, and that equals 6x minus 70. So we're going to do a little bit of work here. We got 2x, 50, and x equals 25. In our next example, we're actually given the two small angles. We're just going to set them equal to each other. We know the big angle was bisected, which means the two smaller angles are congruent to each other. And x equals 11. So the idea of an angle bisector has not changed. We see some other examples here. Since the big angle was bisected, we know that any point on the bisector is equal distance to the two sides. So x equals 15. The next question is exactly the same thing. The big angle was bisected. Any point on the bisector is equal distance to the sides. So these are congruent. So 5x equals 6x minus 5. And x equals 5. In our last question here, n is the incenter. The incenter is equal distance to the sides. So these blue segments are all congruent. And that's learning that vocabulary. The incenter is where the angle bisectors meet. It is equal distance to the sides. So we were asked to find ND. Well, my suggestion is, since we have a little right triangle here, ND is congruent to NF. So let's find NF. We have a right triangle and we know two of the sides. So x squared plus 16 squared equals 20 squared. And let's work that out. And x equals 12. So knowing that an incenter is equal distance to the sides allowed us to process that question. Okay, well, that's angle bisector. Let's do some practice with it.